This is J. Krishnamurti's fourth discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1974.
Any suggestions?
Could we talk about power and the influence of one human being on another?
Beg your pardon?
Could we talk about power and the influence of one human being on another?
Power as influence of one human being over another. Do you feel that here? That you are being overpowered, influenced, twisted, or pacified? No answer.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. When? When you're not feeling in the mood for it? You know, there are various forms of being influenced. Do you know some of them? When one says, I love you and do this for me, that's a form of influence, isn't it? Or when one persuades another to conform to a certain pattern of behavior, that's also influencing, isn't it? When one tries to impress another with his superior wisdom or knowledge or capacity, that's also another form of influence. Society is influencing us through magazines, through newspapers, through editorials, through writers, and so on and on and on. Books. The whole propaganda of the church is to influence people, control people, make them behave in a certain pattern. All that is influencing the mind to conform to a certain pattern. Right? What do you do with such influences? Do you get depressed by them? Do you get depressed by the influence of your parents, of your neighbors, of your friends, or by things that have happened before? How do you deal with these influences? There are conscious influences and unconscious influences. When you see on the television various activities going on, the brutal, the violent, the affectionate, the sexual, and all the rest of it that is so on the television, that is also a subtle form of influencing you. How do you deal with all this phenomenon, including what I am telling you? I am not influencing you, so I am not frightened about that. I am not worried about it. Now, how do you deal with all these influences? Here, in this beautiful place, the beauty of it, the quietness of it, the meditative silence of an evening or an early morning. How do you deal with these tremendous influences in the world that are overpowering, overwhelming, demanding, challenging? How do you respond to them? There are good influences and bad influences. And generally, people say, be under good influence and avoid bad influence. That's what generally people say. But to me, all influence is bad. There is no good or bad.
So isn't everything, in a sense, influenced the weather, the state of weather?
That's why I'm taking weather, the food, the clothes, the friendships, the people who are in authority, the people who are around you who say, and so on. All that, take all that influence. How do you deal with it?
Are you saying that those influences are all bad?
What?
You said all influence is bad.
No, all influence is bad, yes, sir.
What does that
Now I want them to challenge me. I want them to come on, don't go to sleep.
Would that mean that if any of those cause you to react, therefore it's an influence and therefore it's bad?
Do you know these influences, first of all? Are you aware of them? Or they just pass over you like a wave and you just survive? Or you are the result of all these influences? How do you deal with them? Come on, sir, discuss with me. Take in India or in Christian world, from the moment you are born, you are being influenced by the church, by the old tradition, by the family tradition, the parents, the neighbors. You are being influenced all around. Tradition is very strong in old countries like in India. And you are put through that. You are conditioned right from the beginning. How do you deal with all this? It's part of your education, isn't it, to deal with them? Agree? Oh Lord, you're also silent. What's happened? So how do you deal with them? Come on. First of all, do you know these influences exist around you? Not one's influence which you dislike or like, but the general influence. It's very strong in the communist world, very strong if you're living in a Catholic family or a Protestant, practicing Catholic, practicing Jewish, practicing Protestant, Hindus and so on. Are you aware of them?
I think you become aware of them.
Are you aware of them?
Not at the beginning, no.
Now, I'm talking now. Here you are sitting. Are you aware of these influences? Or at least some of them?
Some of them.
Yes? Then how do you deal with them? Do you accept them?
Sometimes you get depressed by them.
Why?
Because you don't seem to be able to throw them off. You don't seem to be able to step away from them.
Why do you want to step away from them? Go into it, sir.
Because you see how they sap your vitality.
So, why do you get depressed by it? I see that you influence me, and I find it rather depressing and enervating. Why do I get depressed about it? It's only I get depressed when I don't know what to do about it. When I can't wriggle out of it or get out of it. Then I say, oh Lord, I have to put up with this, and I get rather upset, irritated, this and all the rest of it. So I get depressed. Now why can't I get out of it? You influence me.
I don't really know how the influence happens. I just feel
That's what I'm asking. Are you aware of it?
a person is aware of some part of the influence, some effect of it, and then they're bothered by it or depressed by it or have a reaction to it, but generally haven't seen why it happened.
Look, sir, here we are saying don't eat meat. It's bad for you. It's cruelty, unnecessary, not healthy. They'll give all the reasons. Do you accept? That's influence also, isn't it?
Could be.
I'm asking, is that influence? It becomes an influence when you are not capable of reasoning, right? When you're not capable of following it step by step, the logic of it, the sanity of it, and so on. When you see that for yourself, it's not influence. But when you don't see it, when you resist it, and have to submit to it, then it becomes depressing.
So we would like to see how we don't see it.
Yes, that's what I want to get at. Why is it that you don't see it? Or if you do see it, how do you deal with it? There are several ways, isn't it? One is in yourself, you're so clear. So abundantly logical, sane in yourself. Therefore you are willing to examine. And therefore there is no depression. There is no resistance. That's one way. Then it's nothing. It won't touch you at all. Right? Now suppose you cannot reason. You cannot feel that you should really understand the thing. Give your mind, your attention, your care. If you don't want to do that, then you put up a resistance, don't you? And that resistance, being very narrow, small, is very depressing. Not the influence is depressing you, but your own resistance to it. I wonder, are you following this? So do you resist? Or do you want to examine the influence that is being put upon you?
Sometimes I don't resist doing what they want me to do, the person wants me to do, but I sometimes become afraid that the person is trying to get control of me.
No, look, we reason together. We say, don't smoke. I'm taking that as an example. Don't smoke. You think immediately that's my prejudice. But I explain to you carefully why you shouldn't smoke. That's unhealthy. It affects the lungs, lung cancer, and all the useless waste of money and so on, so on, so on. Now, will you, who are a smoker, examine that? Or your own demand for nicotine is so strong that you resist. You understand? Therefore, you put up a resistance. And there's a battle between you and me, who you say I am the authority. I am trying to influence you according to my prejudice. Because you are unwilling to examine what I'm saying.
Are you suggesting, sir, that the logical thinking out of these influences is...
First begin logic, then go. It's much more complex than that.
One considers, say, for example, an influence is that one wants to be popular, or wants affection.
All right, you want to be popular with this group. Why?
Well, it seems that it's a condition.
Why? Oh, no, just examine it. Why do I
one
want
feels insufficient.
Huh?
One feels insufficient. I was looking for something to support someone, something to support one.
Which means what? Go on, examine it, sir.
One is not alone. One's dependent.
Go into it a little more slowly. Go, not theoretical, but actually. I want to be popular with you all. Why? Because I want your support. I feel lonely. I feel, as you say, insufficient in myself. Therefore, I have nothing in me. Therefore, I depend on all of you. And therefore, I court popularity. Is that it? If I am aware of that, what do I do with it? That I am lonely, insufficient in myself. Now what do I do with that? Just go on? Keep on saying, yes, I am insufficient, I am lonely, and therefore I must go on being popular? In becoming popular, I play a game, don't I?
But one doesn't see what else one can do.
I first see the picture. I become deceitful, rather hypocritical. Sucking up to that person, and that person. I know all this. And yet I go on. Why can't I face my insufficiency? What does it mean to be insufficient? What does it mean to be lonely? Why don't I go into it? Is it that I have not the capacity, or that I have not the energy to go into it, but I have the energy to be popular? You follow? I have the energy to play up to everybody. But I think I have no energy to go into this finding out what is sufficient, what is insufficiency, whether it can be understood and gone beyond.
But is there an end to it?
Inquire, I say to you. Do you know you're insufficient in yourself psychologically? Nobody answers, nobody listens. Huh? You up there, you're bigger, older people, do you? Nobody. You know what it means to be insufficient? Psychologically. I don't mean outwardly. Outwardly I am dependent, I can't be sufficient to myself outwardly because I need food, I need clothes, bread made by others and so on, so on, so on. But inwardly I am insufficient in myself. I fall in love with that woman one day, a few years later with that woman, a few years later. You know, in myself I am empty. What shall I do? Tell me, what shall I do? Go to some guru and worship him and all his nonsense? Take drugs? Escape from this loneliness, insufficiency, by becoming an expert in mathematics? Study atomic science? God, anything to run away from this. Would that answer the question? No, obviously not. So what shall I do? What is it to be sufficient? Is it ever possible? So that I don't depend on anybody psychologically. Therefore, I'm never depressed if that person doesn't respond as I wish him to respond. And I don't mind if somebody loves me or doesn't love me. I'm not harsh or hard and resistance and or bitter. I don't care if you love me or don't love me. Man who says, I must be loved or seeking to love, be loved, is insufficient in himself. Can you be self-sufficient at all? Or there is no such thing as sufficiency in oneself. I wonder if you're all following all this.
Or I could say I need experiences.
All that you can say, you need experiences. Do you? Do I need the experience of getting drunk? Come on, sis.
I may need the experience of what alcohol is like.
I can taste it. It's terrible for me.
I
So I don't want it.
may need to feel what sex
So wait, follow step by step. Do I need the experience of getting drunk? Do I need the experience of smoking? I might try a cigarette and say, what awful stuff, and throw it out. Do I need all the experience that man has gone through? Need I have the experience of war? Killing somebody, the noise, the brutality, the violence, the hatred, all that's involved in that. Do I need the experience of being in a good position of authority? Go and answer me. When I see people around me with their authority, with their position, with their, power, I see around me. Why should I see what's implied in all that? Why must I go through all that? I won't touch more subtle problems of experience, sex, children. The experience of reality and so on. They're quite a different category of experiences which we'll discuss if you want to. But I'm just asking, why should I go through experiences?
Maybe you want to know, you want to discover or something.
Must I go climb Mount Everest to find out what it's like? Must I go to the dark Africa and find out how the baboons live? In order to understand myself?
It seems that one needs to discover the source of a real learning process.
I'm coming to that. Wait, go slowly. Why do we want experience? If you are asleep, a challenge then comes along, wakes you up, right? And that becomes an experience. You follow? You are asleep. Because you are, I don't know, you eat too much or your parents have done this and that, various reasons that have put you into kind of semi-sleep. Challenge comes along, wakes you up, right? And you wake up for a few days and then collapse again. And that's where most people live. Sleep, wake, sleep, wake. And the waking is the experience. And the sleeping is the norm. You understand what I'm saying? Can you keep awake all the time? Go on, sirs, discuss it.
But couldn't even coming to a talk be a way of...
What's that?
Couldn't coming to a talk be a way of trying to keep awake?
Can you keep awake?
By coming to this talk, he says.
That means I'm keeping you awake. That's no game at all. Can you keep awake? Because Miss Pratt said we need experiences. And the whole world says you need experiences. If you don't have experience, something is wrong with you. That's generally understood. If you don't go out with a boy and a girl, if you don't, marry children, there's something cuckoo.
But no, but the thing, if you meet a person, his parents is not, I mean, another person, she's not a question of experience.
No, you know what the word experience means? The word itself.
Yeah, maybe.
What does it mean?
To go through.
Huh?
To go through. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, to go through, isn't it? Where is our expert, Mr.
Bond.
Professor Baum and Mr. Simmons? I thought I looked it up the other day. I think to go through. Now, to go through an experience means to finish with it, doesn't it? Go through. So that it doesn't leave a mark on you. Oh, well, you won't. Somebody flatters you. That leaves a mark on your mind. You don't say, well, that's finished. Somebody insults you, that's finished. But you carry it with you.
But the fact that you carry,
Huh?
the fact that you carry it with you is not the cause of the experience, it's the cause of one's memory.
Yes, that's it. You carry it with you. You don't finish it. Did I ever tell you that lovely story of two monks? Have you heard that story, any of you?
No.
You have? I see. You haven't heard it? The others? No. May I repeat it without boredom?
Yes.
There are two monks in India walking from village to village. And these monks have taken a vow of poverty, celibacy, and what else?
Obedience.
Huh?
Obedience.
Obedience. And then one morning they were walking along, after having bathed and all the rest of it, and they see a nice girl sitting on the bank of that river, crying. And one of the monks goes up to her and says, "Sister, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" She said, "This morning I forded the river and it was shallow. I did my business and now the river has swollen, I can't cross, I don't know how to swim." "Oh," he says, "that's nothing, I'll carry you over." So he picks her up, wades across and leaves her on the other bank. She thanks him, and the two monks go on. They go on walking for 2 hours, and the other monk says, "Brother, you did something very wrong. You took a vow never to touch a woman. And what did it feel like to touch a woman? Wasn't it exciting?" And the other monk says, "My friend, I left her 2 hours ago and you're still carrying her." Isn't it a nice story? That's what we do with our experiences. So you see, experiences, what people tell us, tradition, newspapers, books, our food, clothes, everything seems to be influencing us. And we are the result of that experience, those influences.
But sir, the experiences that it seems become that you develop capability at, such as...
Have you listened to what I said?
Yeah.
No, just listen. I said, you are the result of all this experience, of all this influence. That's you. You who think, not you, who think in slogans, who have all the knowledge and therefore reply according to that knowledge, very quick in your answer, or dull in your answer. You are the result of all this. It's rather terrifying, isn't it? And when you face that, you get depressed. And you then say, I must have other experiences which is not this. Those experiences are self-projected or invented or given to you by others, which is again the same pattern. So what do you do? How do you deal consciously first with all this turmoil of experiences that have made you? You see, all the revolutionary people, the people who want to change society, the structure of society through revolution. That's kill off some people and invent new set of ideas, and according to that ideals, change society. They're all that group. They are out to influence people by their brutality, violence, and ideals. You're following all this? You know all this. And there are all those people who have got schemes and want to influence you according to their schemes. New plan for England or America and so on, so on, so on. How do you deal with all this? And it's your responsibility. Right? Because you're going to face it. It's out there, waiting to swallow you up. You are being thrown to the wolves. How do you meet it? Please, this is really serious. Get married, establish a house, children, and the whole routine. Go on. Or rush off to some place and be quiet, meditate, and get lost in some silly ideas. Or lose yourself in some speciality and forget the rest. Become a professor in some potty university or great university, and there build a little chapel for yourself. So you've got to face this, unfortunately. So how do you deal with all this? What's your place in all this? Because the question first asked, how does one deal with power and its influence?
Well, the question seems to be of a different kind than the one asked earlier. If someone asks you to wipe your feet, you can, because the feet are dirty.
Of course.
You can use your reason and see very clearly that that's a reasonable
request.
Of course. But in the case of dealing with all of humanity, there are many men who think they're quite reasonable, and they present reasonable alternatives for us.
No, in dealing with all humanity, I am also humanity.
Yes, I agree. But I'm saying that to try and apply the same approach of reason to it.
No, wait, sir. I'm coming to it. To deal with all humanity, I have to deal with myself first. Because I am a human, like the rest of the gang. So if I can deal with myself, if I can see what I am, how I have been constructed, how my psychological entity exists, the futility of going to all that, then I'll meet humanity. If I don't know myself, how can I meet humanity? See, people are not willing to take trouble to understand themselves as human beings. If I am the result of all the influence of the country, the people, the group, certain type of people, they with their tradition, with their gods, which have made me into what I am, how can I look at the world? So I first must know myself. I am the result of all the influences around me. The climate, the food, the clothes, the friends, the books, the magazines, the pictures, museums, all that. And can I, by looking at myself with care, with good attention, with sense of affection to understand myself, then I see I'm really absolutely nothing. Right? And I get depressed. So my God, I'm nothing. So I try to fill that nothingness with a lot of other things.
So you said earlier, people aren't willing to take the trouble to look at themselves. Yeah. Doesn't also come into that the fact of suffering, of being lonely?
That, of course, suffering, loneliness, pain, all that's involved.
It's got to be looked at.
Looked at. Remain with it, not try to change it and go beyond it. Look at it. Does this kind of thing interest you? Huh? Yes? If it does, what do you do about it? Do you go, say for instance, you've heard the speaker say certain things. Do you go after it? When you finish this meeting, when you go off, do you say, well, I must go into this?
But when you go into it, all these, what you are using is the results of your influence and that. So what you are looking at, what you are going after that, you are using the influence and that. So how can you see clearly?
Now wait a minute. You are using what I am saying. Is this what you're saying? You are using what I am saying as an instrument to look at yourself?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean, isn't it?
Part, yes.
Yes. Are you doing that?
Oh, but he's also asking a question, Krishnamurti. He's saying that when he's looking, he feels he's looking
at what I have told them.
Yes, but with the influences that he's had.
Yes, that's right. So you listen to it. You are looking at yourself from what you have heard. What you have heard is the factor that carries you to look at yourself, is that it? You tell me I am greedy.
Greedy?
Greedy, envious. I'm envious. Because you tell me, then I say I'm going to find out if I'm envious. Or do I know for myself if I'm envious? You see the difference? If you tell me that I'm hungry, that's one thing. If I know that I'm hungry for myself, that's another. Now, which is the way you are doing? Am I telling you that you are greedy and therefore you are greedy? And looking at that greed? Or do you know for yourself you are greedy?
You have to see.
See that. If you discover for yourself that you are greedy, you are not being influenced. But if you say, I've heard him say I'm greedy, and I'm going to look if I'm greedy, that is influence. I don't know if you see that.
Yes, but how you are looking, the way how you are looking, you're using a background and the influence.
Go on looking at it.
Go on looking at it.
But
as he goes on looking, he feels his experience, his whole past, influences the continuing.
Therefore, go back to the past. Look at it.
But the result you're going to get is for all that background, and it's not the real thing.
I know, but so look at the background too. Look, sir. Look. My background used to be, as a boy, Hindu. You understand? I was brought up in a Hindu family with a very strict tradition, all the rest of it. Now, if the mind hadn't broken off from that tradition, it would be my background. You understand? Yeah. If it broke off, there's no background. You understand?
I don't know how to work.
I think what Amanda was trying to say also was that the instrument he's using to look, which is his thought, is the net result of the memories of his experiences and influences and so on. So he's using his influences to try to look at influence.
Yeah.
Which cannot be.
Yes, sir. Look, sir. Do I want to learn about myself, or do I want to be told about myself? Let's put it very simply then. Do I want to learn about myself, or do I want to learn about myself according to Kay, according to Skinner, according to somebody else? You follow? Then if I'm looking at myself according to somebody else, I'm not learning about myself. So what does it mean to learn about myself? Right? To learn. You ho capito? Bene. I want to learn about myself. Now what do I want to learn? I don't know myself. Because I don't accept what thousands of psychologists and specialists have said about myself. Because they will be their invention about myself. Now I want to learn about myself. First I must understand two things. Learn and what is myself. Right? Now what does it mean to learn? If you know Spanish, you don't learn Spanish, right? So, if you didn't know Spanish and wanted to learn, see the difference?
Can you say that again, please?
What did I say?
If you did know Spanish, but you wanted to learn. If you do know Spanish,
there is nothing to learn. You can add a bit more, but there is nothing to learn. But if you didn't know Spanish, then you would learn. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know about myself. Right? Now, therefore, I'm willing to learn about myself. Not from somebody else, but by watching myself. You see the difference? Do you? Huh?
Can you learn about yourself by being very truthful with yourself?
Yes, because I don't know myself, therefore I must be very careful, truthful, watchful. But if I knew all about myself, there is nothing to learn. You understand? So learning implies that I don't know. You don't know higher mathematics. Therefore you're willing to learn, if you're inclined to be a mathematician. So the first requirement for learning is not knowing. Are you following this? Huh? I don't know myself. I know myself according to you, but I don't know myself. So the first thing is, I do not know. I don't know Russian. Therefore I'm willing to learn. But if I knew Russian, I'd say, well, you can pick up a few words, but I mean, that's nothing more. So, if I want to learn about myself, there must be real honesty. Say, really, I don't know about myself. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn by watching.
What do you mean by watching?
I'm going to go to that. How do you learn? And when do you learn? Come on, when do you learn?
When you're interested. You have an interest in something, you're curious.
when do you interest? Curiosity.
More motive.
Interest, curiosity. Not knowing. Then you say, "No, I'm going to look." Right? So, to learn implies not only not knowing, but the capacity to look. Right? Right? Is this too much for this morning? All right. Capacity to look. You cannot look if you are prejudiced, can you?
But can you look? Can you look in knowing that it's true? Can you?
Look.
You can look at two different things and.
Écoutez mon cher, listen to me. I don't know myself, about myself. I'm willing to learn. Now, what is where is the place to learn? You understand what I mean? I'm putting it wrongly, perhaps. Where do I learn? I'm very keen on learning about myself because I don't know anything about myself. I'm very keen to find out what I am. Now, where do I learn? Where is the class in which I will learn? Vous avez compris?
Yeah.
Where is the place where I learn? Do I go to a school? Wait, écoutez, do I go to a school where they'll teach me about myself? They will teach me according to what they think I am. So I can't go to a school. It's too silly. Go to school to be taught what I am. I'd become like a monkey. So I can't go to school. So where can I learn about myself?
I think it's everywhere.
Huh?
It's everywhere.
Echo. Everywhere. Now, where is everywhere?
When you are lonely, when you are in relationships.
Come nearer. Where is everywhere?
Where you are.
Where you are. Good. Now, where are you? Go on, sir. Watch it. Go on. I'm glad you go. Where are you?
Like you said, anywhere. But
where are you now? You're gone. Not everywhere. Everywhere is where you are. Right? Now, where are you? Actually, Brockwood, with people around you. What is that called? You here with people around you.
Relationship.
Huh? That's called relationship, isn't it? Huh? Yes? So, in relationship you learn about yourself. You've understood? I am here with all of you. And I want to learn about myself. And I can only learn in this relationship, right? Not everywhere.
No, but
I understand. So I say, now, what do I learn about myself in this relationship? How do I learn? How I react to you, and you react to me. You understand? I watch my reactions. See, I see that I am angry when you say something foolish about me. I say, by Jove, look what I'm doing. You may be right, you may be wrong, but my reaction is I don't like So I've learned. I'm learning. So, learning implies not knowing, right? Learning implies curiosity. Learning implies interest, care, attention, affection. All that's implied in learning, right? So, I'm learning about myself in my relationship to you. Whether you are my friend, not friend, whether you are tall, short, whether you are authority when you know more or I know less, I am willing to learn in that relationship. Then I see myself as I am. I'm beginning to learn. You want?
Yes, but while you're learning, you're using thoughts. You know?
Huh?
But while you are learning, you are using thoughts.
We went into that, yes, the other day, thought. You said you are using thought. Now, what is thought? I'm watching you. I'm reacting to you in my relationship, in daily. At table, at class, playing, talking, I'm watching my reaction. I want to know. And thought comes along, doesn't it? Thought is there. Now I have to find out, why do I think that way? Right? I don't say it's right or wrong, but thought. Why do I think that way? Why do I say that color is good, that color is bad? I like that person, I don't like that person. Why? Thought is an operation. Why? All this means I'm learning, doesn't it? Look, this morning, sitting together, talking over things, we're learning, aren't we? I'm not teaching you. No, sir. I am not teaching you. You are learning by observing yourself.
Now, sometimes we have a tendency to think back quickly on what, you say we're very interested in seeing things clearly ourselves. And we do a funny thing of kind of digging it up and say, how well am I learning?
Right. It's like a seed you planted and you pull it out to see if it is growing. You kill it. So, are you learning this morning what it means to learn about yourself? Learning, not imitating, not conforming, not accepting what somebody else says and then follow according to that.
But after just either right away or a little while, as you look into it, then the question has to come just logically that who's learning? The learner.
So logically, so who is learning? And logically, you further go along, if you go much further, is there anything to learn? That's much further. Don't go into that yet.
Just the learner. It can't, just logically, it can't be trusted.
So who is it that is learning? And what is he learning? Look, I am learning about myself. And who is it that is learning? Do you understand? You understood my question? Huh? You are learning about yourself, right? Wait. But who is it that is learning?
The person who's learning about themselves.
Huh?
The person who is learning about themselves.
Who is that person? You are learning about yourself. And who are you that's learning? Little bit too complex. You don't see it.
Sir, maybe we are learning about ourselves because we are not aware about
Ourselves, right.
And
Right.
if we are
Now,
aware,
who is it that is watching and learning? Too much.
They have to be the same.
Huh?
They're the same.
Which one?
They are the same. They are the same.
They are the same. Therefore, what are you learning?
What we're learning.
This is too much. So the watcher is learning about himself.
Perhaps he's unlearning something.
Don't come. Huh?
Learning about himself. I mean, if the watcher is learning about himself, and all he can do is continue to repeat to himself the same thing he's done.
Therefore, you begin to learn that the watcher is the watched.
Who learns that? Well, I'm just wondering, but that's what happens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's like a dog chasing its tail.
Therefore, at the end of it, you give up the game and say, I'd just be quiet. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
But the whole thing would still be there. Or
But you see, unless you go through this very rapidly, you can't come to the other. That then is a pretension.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
Look, I'm learning about myself in the field of relationship. That's the only place I can learn about myself. How I behave, what I say, what I do. In play, irritation, anger, jealousy, so-called love and all the rest of it. I watch myself. And after watching considerably, I say to myself, who is the watcher? Right? Who is the watcher who says he is learning? Do you understand?
Yes.
Who is the watcher? Is the watcher different from the thing he is watching?
But can you repeat that?
I am watching myself in my relationship with you. In that relationship, I learn. I'm learning. I'm really envious, or I'm angry, or jealous, or this. And who is it that's watching? Is that correct? And is the watcher different from that thing which he watches? But it's very simple, don't complicate it. I am watching greed. I'm watching envy. Because you are much better than I am. I'm watching that envy. Now, is the watcher different from the envy? No. Ecco. Voilà. So the watcher is the watched. And therefore, what is he learning? Don't say nothing. What is he learning?
That he's the watcher.
You are watching. Now, are you greedy? Are you envious? Yes. I'm glad you are honest anyhow. You are envious. Now you are watching that envy. And is the watcher different from your envy? No. Right. So they're both the same. They're not separate. Then what is he learning? Alesi.
That he's envious.
Now look, I'll show you. It's very simple. Look, I'm envious. And I watch that envy, saying to myself, it's wrong to be envious. I must not be envious. So he thinks he's different from envy. Therefore he can correct it or change it. But if he is the same as that, he can't do it. Right? So what happens? Go slow, go very slowly. What happens? Are you following all this? What happens when the watcher and the watched are the same? Effort to change it comes to an end, doesn't it? Conflict comes to an end. Between the watcher and the watched. So what happens?
He's journey.
What is there to learn? You have learned.
You can see that.
Now you are learning something, just watch it carefully. I see clearly, the mind sees clearly that the watcher is the watched. The watcher is as envious as the thing he calls envy. Why does he call it envy? It's too complex for you all. I won't go into it. I've come to the point, the watcher is envy as the watched. Right? I'm repeating this. Then what happens? All movement ceases, doesn't it? Do you see all this? Look, sir, when the watcher is different from the watched, then there is movement, right? Movement as action, trying to change envy, trying to rationalize it, try to explain it, trying to justify it. Because the two are different. But when both are the same, that movement comes to an end, doesn't it?
It seems to me that if I see that from both, it comes to a conflict of changing myself.
No, écoutez, espèce de close on. The two are the same. if the Arab and the Jew are the same, the problem is finished. Vous avez compris?
But I don't see the relationship. So
Non, ce n'est pas. Vous savez, écoutez, n'est-ce pas, il y a. You don't, all right, stick to it in English. There is conflict between the Jew and the Muslim, the Arab. Because they think they are two separate entities. Their tradition, their property, their land, and the Israelis think the same. So there is conflict. Now, they're both human beings under different names, with different traditions. So when they strip their tradition, their name and all that, they're both exactly the same. Then there is no conflict. Right? So in the same way, when the watcher is the watched, they're both the same. And therefore there is no conflict. Therefore there is no movement. Therefore there is free. When there is no movement at all, there is freedom from envy. Have you got it?
Wait, just...
Repeat.
Yes.
Do it! It is a little more complex because when there is no movement, there is tremendous gathering of energy.
Yeah, but that conflict came when you're aware that you are envy.
See. Only if you're not aware, you can just go along as you are.
When you said me do it, I mean, it's like just being envy or...
No. Now wait a minute. Are you envious?
Yes.
Good. You are envious. Who are you that calls himself envious? Are you who think you are envious different from the envy?
There is a part which is envy, there is a part which doesn't want to be envy.
No, you're not on. You don't get it. You are angry, aren't you, sometimes?
Yeah.
Are you different from that anger?
Perhaps.
You are angry?
angry.
Yeah. So, when you are not different from anger, you are angry. The whole thing is angry.
Yes.
Therefore there is no saying I must change it, not change it, I must fight it, I must suppress it. Then what takes place? Oh la la.
When you're angry, what takes place is that somebody comes and hits you back on the nose.
No, sir. Then you react according to the pain you have received. If it is very painful, you don't react at all. You just, oh my God, you hold on. But with slight pain, you want to kick him back. Don't you? So you watch that reaction. Then in watching that reaction, is the watcher different from the reaction?
You're saying, sir, that in watching there's effort implied.
No, that's what I said to you. I'm watching the beauty of those trees, the wind among them, the blue sky behind them, the shadow, the depth, the quality of light, the dead branch. I'm watching them. I don't have to. There is no effort, just to look.
Yeah, but when one is watching oneself...
And that is not effort. Moment you have effort, you are not interested in it. Then drop it. I am awfully interested. I feel tremendously responsible for you. And I watch it. And I'm responsible for you because I feel, my God, you are all young, you're going to be thrown to the wolves. And I watch. It's not an effort. Effort implies, something's different. I have affection. I see if you're not my children actually, but I see, my God, what is going to happen to them in this monstrous world? There's no effort involved in it at all. But there would be effort involved in it if I say, look, you're all going to be vegetarians for the rest of your life. You'll never marry. You'll never have children. You must obey this. You must do that. Then it's a goddamn bore for me as well as for you. But if you, in talking over together, if you can awaken that intelligence, which is part of real education, then you would be saved from the wolves. And so our job is our responsibility to see that you have this kind of intelligence when you leave. If you ever leave.
What do you mean by that,
sir? What do I mean? Some of you say, for God's sake, I don't want to leave this lovely place. I'm 55 or 25, I don't want to leave. Then you become hardened criminals here.
But sometimes when I'm here, I know I have to go back home for the summer. I know that I can deal with my parents and all that. But when I get there, it's just another thing. It's just another...
Therefore, sir, learn how to deal with it intelligently. They want you to eat meat, they want you to do this, they want you to do that. Be intelligent enough so as not to be trapped in all that. Find out for yourself. And this is the time to find out, not when you get there. Bien. J'ai compris quelque chose ou bien? Bien. You can't draw a circle, a magic circle around yourself and remain in that circle. There is no such thing. The magic circle exists with intelligence. And that intelligence is to see things very clearly. Like the watcher and the watched. That requires tremendous clarity. If I go back home and they want me to do this and to do that, according to their pattern, to their tradition, to their ideas, what I should be and should not be, and all the rest of it. And I have to act intelligently, not resist, not fight them, not throw bombs at them or this or that or run away. I have to deal with it intelligently. That intelligence can be gathered while you are here, by discussion, by inquiry, by being not obstinate, by finding out, asking, exchange, affection, care, all that's involved in it. Which means that you must know your own prejudices, your own conditioning, your own pettiness, your own shallowness, your own cunningness, and all the rest of it. Whether you can stand alone or not, whether you must love somebody or you want somebody to love you. Yet you fall in love with one person one day and 5 years later with somebody else, with 10 years, and so on and on and on. It is now to learn all that.
Krishnaji, it seems that when there's a coming on something directly, like versus perhaps in a group where the mind is occupied and you can go through something. When you look at something like the watcher and the watched, there seems to be a place where there's a resistance very strong.
Then examine that resistance. Look.
That's it. But but there's a resistance then to examination. There's a resistance.
Look at it. So, look, these flowers there. Just do all of you try this. Just look at those flowers, will you? Without saying that this color, that I like this, I don't like, how beautiful. Just look. Without any movement of thought. Then, if you know how to look at those flowers without movement of thought, then look at yourself without a movement of thought. See how bene?
Of course, it's different. It's so much more complex.
And this much more complex than that.
The watcher, has something at stake.
That's right, sir. So you begin to learn. And the moment you store up what you have learned, that becomes the tradition. Then you're lost. Then you're like the monk, you are carrying what you have learned. Therefore, you are never free to look. To look freely, that's the beginning of intelligence. Okay, all right. What time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. You better stop.